Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and today I'm excited to bring you a new top 10 here. My review today is going to be on my pick for the top 10 best free-to-play games to play with friends. Now, if you actually joined me during the streaming of all this, I actually had people, the friends and family, join me for the video footage, then please say hi, say hello in the comments below. Thanks so much, guys, for helping me with this footage, and also with the idea and the conceptualization of this top 10. Thanks so much. You guys are the hype that keep the channel alive. But I do all the work here, so let's go ahead and get through it. The best games to play with your friends for free. Alright, first on the list, number 10 is Brawlhalla. Now you can play this dueling against somebody, you can go 2v2, or you can just go free-for-all with 4 players and play it like a party game. This is a Smash-like, it's a platform fighter that's free to play. You can acquire lots of new characters if you want to play this game consecutively, but if you just want to one and done it, play it like, well, Brawlhalla, you just want to jump in and just kind of have a melee, you can do that. You can totally play it like that. So this is a really quick download, like a minute tops, jump in, jump out, you can do the do. But if you do want to play it consecutively, there is a lot of content. There is 1v1 esport potential. I know Ubisoft just picked up this game and they're pushing it pretty hard, and you do have the fun little game modes. You have 2v2s you can jump into, so if you want to play it team versus team, yeah, it's a weird fighting game that is really light. Any machine can play it, anybody can jump in, but at the same time, there's a little bit more to it as well, which is why it makes the list here. Next up at number 9, I'm gonna put Unturned. Now, out of all the survival games, I feel like this is the single best introduction, mainly because it's freaking free. It didn't have like a paid early access or anything like that, and it actually like released. The game is out, it's playable, it's fully playable, and some games really can't claim that. Even the champions of the genre, such as DayZ or Ark Survival Evolved, I mean, yeah, they're interesting and they're cool. One has freaking dinosaurs, but Unturned is just really down to earth, very basic, and very good because of it. It knew what it wanted to be, and this actually came from a mini game in Roblox, so really interesting how this game turned out. But Unturned is, I think, really charming for kids to jump into as well, which might be why you're looking at this kind of list. But in the end, even though it's a good introduction into this sort of genre, which has all these very interesting fight or flight situations and scenarios, actually, I would dare say that this is also an end game. Like, this one actually has features that a lot of games wish they had or wish they worked properly. So yeah, if you want a survival game to play for free, I absolutely will say that game is Unturned. Okay, number 8, I'm putting Dungeon Defenders 2. Now, I loved, and I'll applaud Dungeon Defenders 1 for what it did, but I don't think the graphics are timeless. The gameplay is definitely timeless, and it's something really awesome and fun to do, so buy that if you can. But for free-to-play, Dungeon Defenders 2, I think, succeeds in most ways. And there are some mixed reactions to the monetization and the grind that's inside the game, but at the same time, people who play these kind of games want to consistently grind and redo it. Basically, it's an action tower defense, so you want to be defending towers. Generally, those are very repetitive, so get used to that, but don't worry, there is challenge to the game, absolutely. So if you want a game where you and some dudes just sit down for a night and really grind a game and really get into it, you're gonna have some difficulty thrown at you. So there's a lot of different characters to play as. I personally like the monk, then the wizard, and then my favorite is the new summoner. Dude, he looks like Cthulhu. I'm having a lot of fun blasting around with that guy. But it is interesting, you know, lots of different characters, your friends play different roles, and you gotta control different lanes and really work together. And so in terms of cooperation, I think Dungeon Defenders 2 is one of the best games out there, and absolutely, that's why it's gonna make my top 10 games to play with friends for free list. Moving through now, at number 7, I'm gonna throw in Dauntless into the gauntlet here for our top 10. I just want to say that it's not out yet. Depends on when you're watching this video, but it will be free to play. Please stop saying in these lists that it's not free to play. They will be free to play. This is actually going free to play like in a month. It goes the 24th of May, so open beta. Just saying that. Okay, anyways, you guys should know about Dauntless by now. It's pretty popular. It's on the tip of everyone's tongue, especially because Monster Hunter World is so explosive. But basically, this is a Monster Hunter clone that was designed to be for PC, for Western players, and free to play. And overall, it's pretty interesting. Now, it's got some optimization issues at the moment, probably will continue to open beta. And it doesn't have too much content. Again, open beta, that's when we're gonna start getting a lot more. But overall, what's in the game right now is definitely fun, definitely cooperative. and definitely worthy of making this list, even just a little bit higher up than some other games, because it is such an interesting twist. If you've never played a boss rush cooperative type of game, really, if you've never played a Monster Hunter type of game, Dauntless is the introduction that you probably want to have, and especially because it's freaking free. Now, it looks like here, number 6, I'm gonna have to put Team Fortress 2. I have to put this game, even though I love Overwatch, and actually a direct competitor is gonna follow this one. The thing is that Team Fortress 2 just has such a variety of ways to play with friends. So if you do want to play like a lot of weird server mini games, things like surfing or just hang out, there's actual social servers where you can just go play like Simon Says or something weird like that, or just trade around. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with friends in Team Fortress 2 that has almost nothing to do with the core gameplay of being like a class-based shooter, which is so strange. But if you do want to play that, yeah, it's a team-focused class-based shooter, and you can play different roles, jump in, as a proper team. It's called Team Fortress 2. Of course, it's going to have team play. You can actually have pretty interesting 1v1s, I think, in this game. I know I did personally. Mr. Flippers, I see ya. I think you beat me by 1 point, but whatever. That's okay. We'll rematch, okay? Anyways, so Team Fortress 2 is fun, and then considering the man versus machine, which, kind of contests with Dungeon Defenders as being a really good wave-based survival sort of game. So I really like it. I play the engineer in that. Man vs. Machine is its own separate gameplay. Fantastic. So because it has so many ways to play with a friend, there's really no excuse not to have Team Fortress 2 on your Steam library. All right, halfway through the list, Paladins is going to make it. The direct competitor that I was talking about with TF2, as well as Overwatch, but this is the free-to-play Overwatch, and this is a proper hero shooter. What's the difference between TF2 and Paladins? Well, heroes versus classes. We have proper heroes, which has really unique abilities, ultimates, all that good stuff, and gameplay that's focused around that. And then, which it actually has over Overwatch, is the card system, and it has the loadout system, so then you can even further customize them, which is pretty great, and actually adds a lot of depth to the competitive scene, I think, and a lot of chaos into the casual scene. So there are reasons to play Paladins, even though it has such intense competition with TF2 and Overwatch. But I want to put it on this list because it's just such a fun and silly game that also transitions so well from casual to competitive that I just don't see why you shouldn't play this at the same time as those other games too. It's just really fun, silly, light, and sure, there are some polished issues, and it's still definitely beta, but I think it's got some really cool characters, and that's kind of the reason you play these kind of games, is to play the different heroes and play the different roles and play with your friends. And Paladin's got some weird stuff, dude. I really like Ying. The new Khan tank is kind of interesting, and just overall, the whole cast and crew is just very weird and wacky. And if you want to get weird and wacky with some dudes, well, then there you go. You should be checking out Paladins. Big Bad 4, let's talk about League of Legends. So I put this over all other MOBAs because I think that this has the widest range of competitive content for playing with friends. So this is a competitive game, and I wanted to put that on there. Paladins made it because it's both casual and competitive, but League is like, it's pretty hardcore, and it takes a little bit to get into, but it's nowhere near as time-consuming as Dota to even just introduce yourself into, and it's not quite as lighthearted as Heroes of the Storm, which is also a great contender. You could probably put that on the list as well. I definitely agree with that, but League of Legends just has a much wider variety of different archetypes of characters. You have so much more going on with a minute little micro mechanics. Literally, it's entirely based on micro mechanics, actually. So it kind of feels like a fighting game sometimes, but then you still have your support role, you have your tanks, you have everyone that plays very strange and differently, something I applauded Paladins for, but in a MOBA setting. So there's a little bit more range with the itemization and the customization and how you can play with your friends with that. It definitely evolves the game just a little bit. So if you want to take a game seriously and play with some friends, League of Legends is definitely that, but don't discount it. It can be weird and wacky too, but I'm just saying, League is more of a cutting teeth sort of game for competition. Definitely can transition from competitive and casual, but just get ready for a little bit toxicity, but if you have some friends, it shouldn't be a problem. Now, number 3, we gotta talk about Fortnite. Now, Fortnite would be number 1 because it's freaking Fortnite, right? But it doesn't have the variety of ways to play like, say, League of Legends has like lots of different mini game modes and things like that, while it's still kind of competitive, it's still lots of different game modes. Fortnite is Fortnite. It's a battle royale, and that is kind of actually hardcore in a sense. I mean, you can kind of appreciate it like a party game, like there's just so much chaos that you just willy-nilly just do whatever and just try your best, sure. But Fortnite is, at its core, it's 1 versus 99. But of course, you're playing with friends, so you're doing duos or you're doing squads, and well, I mean, you can have fun like that too. You can be silly, but it's still kind of intense, man. It's gonna feel really unfair, and it's a very hard game to win. So if you guys can keep the morale up, Fortnite is one of the most charming and colorful games out there, despite what Battle Royale really means, and really where it comes from is something very brutal, historically actually gory, and something very hardcore, but Fortnite really shines some spotlight on how fun and silly and wacky it can be, and that's kind of what this whole list is about, is just kind of jamming with some friends and just having fun, and Fortnite absolutely is that, which is probably why it's so popular in a genre that historically was very niche, and then they just blew it right up. Fortnite is actually a fantastic game. A lot of people overlooking it because they think it doesn't deserve the popularity. Trust me, jam with some friends and you'll see why. Number 2. Now this might be debated if it should be this high or not. Hey, it's my list, it's my opinion, guys, but I really like Warframe. I think Warframe, if you start it with a friend, or if you consecutively play with them over years, even over time, Warframe is a great game to consistently come back to. Now, there's a few other looter shooters that definitely should be talked about. There's some others that aren't free to play, but Borderlands and Destiny, those are interesting. The first Destiny actually was kind of okay, but Warframe as a free to play game, or just even as a looter shooter period, competing with AAA ones, I think is just good. It's just a game that you can always come back to. Some of the games on this list might be one and done. I have to admit, Dauntless, maybe Unturned, and Brawlhalla. You might just play it once for a party or come back, maybe once or twice. But Warframe is one of those co-op games that you can play forever, consecutively, and you always have something to do, always have something to co-op with a friend. And that's something that maybe you're looking for when you type in best games to play with friends. You want an excuse to play with your friends. You want something to do. I swear, dude, Warframe has always got something to do. Now, whether that's a bad or good thing, that's going to be up to you, but it's ninjas in space. It's really fast. It plays really crazy, super sci-fi fantasy, power fantasy going on. It's really ridiculous, but if you just want to, make your eyeballs feel real good while talking with some friends over Discord, Warframe is absolutely that game. And now, lastly, I tried to have a nice balance of different genres, different types, from co-op based, team based, and even versus based, but I wanted to put my number 1 to be the game that had the greatest combination of ways to play with your friends, the most breadth of content to do at the same time, reasons to keep coming back, and pretty much every reason why I put all these games on the list, Guild Wars 2 also kind of matches. Maybe doesn't quite mirror perfectly in terms of quality, but it has all that content and then does some extra things, extra special. So I wanted to put an MMO proper, truly massive, and honestly, frankly, it's just my favorite MMO, that's going to be Guild Wars 2. And there's lots of games you can play with friends, and basically, any time you play with friends, it's going to make the game a little bit better. But Guild Wars 2 gives you basically all the reasons to do that. Instead of having linear quests like Elder Scrolls Online, you have open questing with the heart system. Even its single player, quotation mark, cinematic stuff can be co-opted, which is great. And then you also have the world versus world, so you can play as a team, a big team. You can play in a guild if you want to play with friends. Maybe you want to play with more than just 4 or 2, just a squad. You want to actually guild up, and this is called Guild Wars. You can do a lot of stuff with guilds now that they have a lot of really cool endgame stuff, and you have to buy into that. So I guess I can't reach too far with that. But in terms of base content, there is some ender game stuff with the fractals. There is some stuff that you can do with the seasonal events. There's some really epic big bosses that you're gonna have a blast playing with, of course, joining in with friends, and those open events are also really fun to one and done. So every reason, like I said, with all these other games, I think Guild Wars 2 has those things, and then it has a little bit extra flavor because it's bigger and better. If you want to play with more friends, more consistently, Guild Wars, if you want to have a guild, then yeah, that's the game to have. The only disclaimer is that, it is free to play for the base game, but you do need the DLCs. But other than that, I think it's good to go. So that's it for my list. Whether you agree or not, I would actually really like to know in the comments below, because you guys helped give me the idea for this list on stream. And oh yeah, I do ask that you do click the bell for a tell so that you can actually watch me when I go live, because YouTube is being really, flucky about that, not sending out the little alerts. That would be nice, YouTube. But anyways, thanks so much, guys. You really made this video what it is, and continue to, because the comments are half the content, actually. So if there's any game that I missed or you just want to talk about, I know somebody's going to be like Path of Exile or something like that, please leave it in the comments below. I had my reasonings for these games. I think, you know, well, I mean, I said my reasonings, but I think they're good to go for most people overall, and I had a nice variety of different kind of games, but if you want to shout something out, absolutely do it, please, and thank you. Much love, guys. All I ask is that you do try to have some fun. Get some friends in there and keep the hype alive. My name's Skylent, and I'll see you again next time.